Erin serves as the coordinator for Fair Share Food Bank, while Annika, a grade 10 student at CCI, is a dedicated writer, reader, and human rights advocate. Join them on the new main stage as they share their insights and unwavering commitment to making a difference.
Hello. I'm going to set my timer because I tend to talk a lot. Can you guys hear me okay? First of all, I just kind of wanted to introduce myself. My name is Erin Hunter, and I am the coordinator for Fair Share Food Bank here in Cobourg and Port Hope. I'm here today to talk with my daughter about food insecurity. And before we do, I just want to tell you a little bit about myself. We were in New Brunswick I was there for 20 years. Annika was born and raised there. While we were there, I owned a coffee shop. At that time, I was serving ethical food for a reasonable price. It was nutritious, it was local, it sustained people, and that was kind of my beginning to learning about food insecurity. So I had people that would come in and they could only pay a certain amount, they would get food. Making sure people had access to nutritious food was kind of my goal. Shortly after Annika was born, I sold the business and I became the assistant executive director for the crisis line in New Brunswick. So that was the suicide helpline. And I was there for a couple of years, and I've also worked in nonprofit as far as developing curriculum for people with marginalized people, getting them access to free safety courses. So I've always worked with people that are marginalized. We moved back to Ontario several years ago, and now we've been in Northumberland for 2 years, as I said, and I'm a single mom. I'm on ODSP, I work part-time. Food insecurity is something that is near and dear to my heart because it's something that we have gone through ourselves. So today I'm going to script myself. I don't often script myself, I usually go on tangents and talk and talk and talk, but I've been given 15 minutes, and then my lovely daughter Annika is with me today. And I am so proud, because one of the big things about food insecurity and other societal issues is informing our younger generation, getting them involved, getting them to talk, getting them to speak in public events like this is just amazing. So again, I'm going to use my notes a little bit. If you can't hear me, if I'm talking too fast, just say slow down, and I will. I've already been told. Thank you, Carolyn. All right. So today I stand before you to address a critical issue that affects countless individuals in our county, our country, and in the world. But disproportionately, it impacts women. Food insecurity in our community and in Canada at large. This is not just a matter of empty stomachs, it is a complex problem that touches on fundamental aspects of human dignity, health, and societal equity. Let's begin by defining what we mean by food insecurity. I know it's a hot topic right now, people are talking about it, it's because more people are accessing food banks than ever before. It's not just about hunger, it's about the uncertainty of having a reliable access to affordable, nutritious food. It's about the stress of not knowing where your next meal will come from, or having to choose between paying for food or other essential needs such as transportation. Housing is huge. Medication, utilities, transportation, everything is so expensive. Now, you might be wondering why we're here talking specifically about women. Well, clearly we're at the Women's Expo, but also just because the reality is that women in Canada face higher risk of food insecurity compared to men. There's a lot of different reasons why. First and foremost, we have to acknowledge the economic factors at play. Women in Canada are more likely to live in poverty and have lower income compared to men. Still, in 2024, women only earn 89 cents to every dollar earned by men in comparable positions. This wage gap, which persists despite years of advocacy and policy efforts, directly impacts women's ability to afford nutritious food consistently. The situation is even more dire for single mothers. Nearly 25% of female-led lone-parent households in Canada will face food insecurity. These women also have to balance the difference of the cost of housing, childcare, food on a single income. The choice between paying rent and putting food on the table is a harsh reality for many. Secondly, we need to consider the societal roles that women often fulfill. In many households, women take on the primary responsibility of food planning, purchasing, and preparation. This means that they're often the first to notice when food supplies are running low and the ones who make the difficult decisions about how to stretch resources even further. Moreover, research has shown that in food insecure households, Mothers often sacrifice their own nutrition to ensure their children have enough to eat. We recently did a poll at the food bank, and that was one of the major things. Have you actually skipped a meal because your child needed a meal? Absolutely, most people, most women have said yes. We're caregivers by nature, that's who we are, and that's the reality. Often they'll go hungry. But because of the selfless act, while it's admirable, they can lead to have serious health consequences for women over time. Third, it's crucial to recognize that certain groups of women face compounded risks. Indigenous women, visible minority women, women that are new to Canada, immigrant women, and senior women experience higher rates of food insecurity due to the intersecting factors of discrimination, marginalization, and economic disadvantage. For instance, Indigenous women living in remote northern communities face huge food costs. We know that the costs up there are so high. There are due to transportation costs, limited access to traditional foods, and the ongoing impacts of colonization on the community food systems. Immigrant women in particular, recent arrivals, and we've seen this at the food bank, they may struggle with food insecurity as they navigate a new country, potentially facing language barriers. One thing that I've noticed more is the difficulty in credential recognition. For positions that they held in their countries, they're not able to have access to that same positions here. There's also limited social support networks. Thankfully, Northumberland County has a lot of networks that are set up for people that are newcomers, but again, that's a population. We see a lot of women coming to the food bank. Senior women. I was just talking to somebody today about senior women, especially those living alone on fixed incomes, another vulnerable group. As prices continue to rise, many find their pensions stretched to the breaking point, forcing them to cut back on nutritious foods and skip meals entirely. So I'm just going to take this moment to say to anybody that's here, if you are food insecure yourself, the most empowering thing that you can do is access a food bank, access those supports because they're there to support you. I think that I've traveled all over Northumberland County, and one thing I like to kind of reiterate to every group I speak to, first and foremost, yes, you're generous people. Northumberland is a very generous county, but if you need food support, get food support because you need food to thrive and survive. And interestingly, we're going back to senior women. Research show that even in similar households, women tend to report higher levels of food insecurity than men. This suggests that women can be more sensitized or impacted by food access issues at the home. This could be due to their role as primary caregivers, or perhaps they're more likely to sacrifice their own needs for others in the household. I'm going to keep saying that over and over because it's true. I'm not trying to say that men don't suffer from food insecurity, but today we're talking about women, and it is disproportionate as far as compared to men. Carolyn's telling me to breathe. Okay. The consequences of food insecurity for women are far-reaching. Beyond the immediate physical impacts of poor nutrition, food insecurity is associated with increased stress, anxiety, and other mental health issues. My coworker Katie and I recently got to go see a March break camp at one of the churches, and one of the questions we asked the children was, when I'm hungry, and to finish that sentence. And for little ones to be able to say, when I'm hungry, I'm stressed, I'm anxious, I'm embarrassed, all of these things. That's a true factor. That's for children recognizing that. We all have those issues. By consequences of food insecurity, they're far-reaching. Beyond the immediate physical impact of poor nutrition, food insecurity is associated with more than that. It can affect women's ability to participate in work and social activities, and can even impact their children's development and educational outcomes. On a side note, over 50% of the people who came to the food bank in Cobourg last month in September were children under the age of 18. That's way higher than the national average. Between our two locations in Port Hope and Cobourg, it's 35% last month. Again, above the national average. So what can we do about this? This is my favorite part. What are we gonna do? All right. How can women in Canada advocate and promote change to address food insecurity? There's many powerful actions we can take, and that's why we're here today. Number one, I've only made a list of 10. Number one, raise awareness. One of the most potent tools that we have is our voices. By sharing personal stories and experiences with food insecurity, we can help put a human face to statistics. There's different ways you can do it. You can reach out speaking at community events like we're doing today. Writing a blog. Some of the best blogs I've read recently are from women's first-hand experiences in facing food insecurity. Getting rid of that stigma that you need help sometimes. Breaking down those barriers where people feel embarrassed to go to food banks and access food. using social media to spread awareness. Every story shared chips away at the stigma surrounding food insecurity and helps others understand the real world impacts of this issue. Because a lot of times it is our neighbor. A lot of times it is a teacher at school that we didn't know was going through such hardships. It's a very invisible thing to the naked eye, so the more we talk about it, the more we have first-hand accounts, the more we learn from it, the more we're going to grow and make change. Support local initiatives, get involved with Fair Share, other food banks and pantries, community gardens, meal programs. Our organizations are the front lines of combating food insecurity, and we always need volunteers and support. By participating, you are not directly only helping those who need it, but you're actually helping people learn about the challenges faced by food insecure individuals in our community. Advocate for policy changes. September was Hunger Action Month, and people came to the food bank, local politicians, to learn more about what happens at the food bank. Talk to the local politicians. Food insecurity is often a symptom of a broader systemic issue. Advocate for policies that address root causes, such as increases in social assistances, affordable housing initiatives, which we've been talking about this weekend, living wage laws. Some major concerns of those coming to the food bank. Write to your local representatives. They do want to hear from you. It might seem like your voice does not make a difference, but one voice, another voice, eventually, change has to happen. We know that. We're at that vital point in society right now. We need to make change. You can also attend town hall meetings, participate in campaigns pushing towards these changes. Don't be afraid to share your voice, and even the younger generation have a voice. Promote gender equity. Since women's economic status is a key factor in food insecurity, supporting broader gender equity initiatives is crucial. This could involve mentoring young women, supporting women-owned businesses like we all are doing today, and advocating for pay equity and family-friendly workplace policies. Participate in research. If you have experienced food insecurity, consider participating in research studies on the topic. Your insights can help researchers and policymakers better understand the nuances of food insecurity and develop more effective solutions. Join or create grassroots organizations. Northumberland is lush with people who care. There's strength in numbers. Join existing organizations focused on food justice and security issues. These groups can be powerful advocates for both change at the local level, provincial level, national level, and I'm hoping international level too. Use your vote wisely. Support local politicians and provincial politicians and parties with strong anti-poverty and food security platforms. Attend debates. Ask questions. I can say that again. Ask questions, ask questions, ask questions about these issues, and make your voice heard at the ballot box. Support sustainable food systems. Something that we're really trying to do at the Fair Share right now is advocate and support for local initiatives that promote sustainable local food production. This helps make nutritious food more accessible and affordable to communities across Canada, and especially here in our own backyard. Practice inclusive advocacy. Remember that food insecurity affects diverse groups of women differently. Ensure that advocacy efforts are inclusive and consider the unique challenges faced by Indigenous women, immigrant women, people with disabilities, the seniors, other marginalized populations. Everybody is unique, but food insecurity is something that's universal that we all understand. We all need to eat. And this is my personal favorite. Educate the next generation. If you're a parent, if you're a teacher, some of our mentors and teachers are here today to support us, empowering the young people educating them about food security, about nutrition, about social justice. Empowering the next generation with knowledge and compassion is key to long-term change, which is why I'm so immensely proud to be up here with my daughter today. She'll be up here in just a second when I stop rambling. In conclusion, food insecurity among women in Canada is a complex issue that requires a multifaceted approach. It's not just about providing food, it's about addressing systemic inequalities, changing policies, and shifting societal attitudes. As we work towards solutions, it's important to remember that food security is a fundamental human right. Nobody should have to worry about where their next meal comes from, least of all in a country as prosperous as Canada. By raising our voices, supporting our communities, and advocating for change, we can work together towards a future where all women, indeed all Canadians, have a reliable access to affordable, nutritious food. This is not just a women's issue, but it's a societal issue that affects us all. When women thrive, families thrive. When families thrive, our entire community benefits. So I call on each of you today to take action, whether it's volunteering at a local food bank, writing to your local politicians, or simply starting conversations about food insecurity with your friends and family. Have a food drive at your house. Instead of a birthday party, have a food drive. Talk about it. Write letters together. So basically, together we can create awareness where food security is not drastically rising as a societal issue, and where every woman, child, and every individual has the nourishment they need to reach their full potential. So, thank you for your attention. Letting me talk fast. Let's move forward together towards a more food secure future. Now, I'd like to introduce my daughter, Annika, if you could come up. I'm just immensely proud that my daughter wanted to speak with me today. It's something that's been in the works for the last couple months. We're very excited to be able to do this together. My daughter, as I said, we've been here for 2 years in Northumberland. She's a grade 10 student at CCI, a wonderful school that's been very supportive. So without further ado, here's my daughter, Annika.
So first off, I would like to apologize. I'm a little bit squeaky right now. I've lost my voice, which is probably bad for speech, but you know. And like, of course, like, I'm gonna be talking a little bit robotically because like I'm reading off a sheet, of course. But I promise you, I have so much passion towards this, but like, just don't, like, my tone has something to do with the way I feel. Okay. Ladies, today I've come to speak and bring to your attention food insecurity and its hold on women who are victims of domestic violence. But first off, I would like to thank you for your attention, and I'm truly honored to be here. With the plummet that COVID-19 caused, it came extra use of food banks. As of March 2022, food bank use was at an all-time high, but what also came with COVID-19 was an increase in domestic abuse cases. What studies have found is that the majority of women that are tied to domestic abuse tend to be one of the minorities that struggle most with food insecurity. Something I have both found secondhand and through various sources is that in most abusive households, women are forced to stay due to their abusers having control over something they need to thrive and survive, such as money, attachments, and attachments to the outside world being two of the main factors. Money is our lifeline. It's the things we need, such as housing, utilities, and most importantly, food. This is how food insecurity is such a drastic part of domestic violence. But over the years of my studies about women's rights and feminism, I have found that women have never been weak or helpless. We all have strength in us. We come from generations of powerful women who have overcome large problems, and all with a bit of help. That is why we have resources like these shelters and food banks, because no matter the situation you're in, there's always someone who wants to help. We all need a little bit of help sometimes. That just brings my rant to an end. I'd like to thank my mother and everyone here for the opportunity to speak on this topic, and especially to my teachers who have never given up on me and who have given me the confidence to speak in public.